All right, good evening, everybody. It's 5:30. We'll go ahead and get started with the pre-commission agenda. I don't have a president's report this evening. Are there any general housekeeping items or discussion of the agenda from the commission?
Madam President?
Commissioner Pickering?
Yeah, I have a question for staff on item number 3. It'll be really quick
Okay.
when that's the right time.
Yeah, we can take that up now.
Great. Hi, Director.
Madam President, Commissioner Pickering, hello.
Hi. Quick question. I was looking at the consent agenda items and on item 3, that Fairview Bridge replacement. I noticed that there was some historical elements of the bid, and I just wondered if you could explain what their role is in that bid and the bridge replacement and why that's important to this project.
Madam President, Commissioner Pickering, the bridge is almost 100 years old. It's technically 2 bridges. You have the old side and the new side, but still both of them are at that useful life perspective. And so when we have a bridge that meets that threshold of being considered historic, we do have to either do some documentation or incorporate and work with the State Historic Preservation Society for our permitting to make sure that we are properly documenting it in recognition of the history that is there.
And is that just because of the age, or, I mean, do we have a threshold, or does the historic, society, like, do they have what like prompts that? Who defines what historic is? Not that I'm saying the bridge isn't historic, but.
Madam President, Commissioner Pickering, I'm going to ask Rachel to come up, who is
Thanks, Rachel.
More of an expert on that.
I mean, I do like the old side from a visual standpoint. But yes, thanks, Rachel.
Madam President, Commissioner Pickering, Rachel Spear, Supervisor of the Fed Aid Group. It's actually a federal requirement that we go through the cultural resource process. It's a part of NEPA, the National Environmental Policy Act. So that's what triggers the cultural resource study.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other agenda questions? All right, over to you, Director.
Well, thank you, Madam President, Commission. It's been a fun week and some interesting things to report on. I will, just as a highlight, we will be talking about trolls at some point in time and during this presentation. So, but all of it continues to be and always will be focused on building infrastructure for the public. First, I wanted to update the commission. Our 15th and 16th concept study, this is to look at those roads in and around, really from State Street down to Americana shoreline area, looking at those roads. This was a top priority from the city of Boise. This last week had a pop-up meeting with the unhoused community that has a large population in and around that area. And so I just appreciate the team taking into consideration all the users of that area and making sure we have good input into how it is used and how we can make it better for those who are in that area. So just wanted to recognize the team for that. Next, we have a video here. We had the opportunity to partner with Idaho Power and Safe Routes to School to make a video and encourage more safe action. And yes, Commissioner Gold, you are in this video, as you can tell. So let's.
Idaho is growing, and as the roads get busier, our children are more at risk.
Thousands of children each year are injured or even killed by vehicles while on their way to or from school.
As children make their way to school, it's our job to ensure they get there safely.
Slow down near crosswalks and school zones, stop for school buses, and watch for kids walking, biking, and rolling.
Help us.
Help us.
Help us.
Protect our children, and let's make Idaho safe for all of us.
We're always grateful for the opportunity to partner with other community leaders and really encourage that safe action throughout our community. We had the opportunity today to visit one of the BSU Urban Studies 300 class. They will be helping us with our Southeast Boise neighborhood plan update. And so some of our expert planners had the opportunity to meet. Now, I will say not all of them look excited to be in this photo. But our planners look very excited to be there. And so we're very grateful for the team taking this idea. I had the opportunity the last couple days to attend a conference put on by Micron, ICCU, and Allquist. It was called the Kerosene conference, and they talked about the schools were there and the presidents were there and talking about this desire to collaborate more and give our students better experiences because they're not always ready. Let's just be honest. When you graduate, you're not always ready to enter the workforce and jump right in and be fully contributing there. And so these are great opportunities to partner and educate some of our who could be future employees here at the Highway District and how important that is.
Roundabouts might feel a little tricky at first, but they're really just a smarter way to keep traffic moving. Here's the simple way to navigate them. Step 1, pick your lane before you enter. Right lane for right turns or going straight. Left lane for left turns, U-turns, or sometimes straight. Check the signs. Step 2, yield to traffic already inside. Look left. Make sure all lanes are clear and wait for a safe gap. Step 3, stay in your lane while circulating. No switching lanes, no stopping in the roundabout. Finally, signal your exit and watch for pedestrians. Roundabouts are safer and more efficient than traditional intersections. With a little practice, you'll see why they're popping up all over Ada County.
Commissioners, it's National Roundabout Week. I know everyone was preparing and for the celebration. I hope you've celebrated well this week. But really, we are so grateful for the engineers who come up with these kind of things that make it safer for our community and ensure that we are building infrastructure that does minimize that risk of fatalities and serious injuries. Really, roundabouts have proven that. And we've seen that in our experience. It doesn't mean there's not crashes. We're all learning. And that's why we have videos like this to continue to educate us as a people on how to use them well. But truly grateful for this tool within our toolbox and the support the commission has shown for that within our policy. Commissioners had some conversation, and this has been a topic of conversation for a time. This is the Black Cat and Franklin Road crossing out in Meridian. This is I'm going to say the only arterial in our system that does not have a traffic control that allows vehicles to flow freely over that railroad crossing. What's challenging here is this is immediately adjacent to a school. And so multiple times a day, there's a large backup that occurs here, and it's creating some challenges. Our team has worked closely with ITD to secure funding for this. And that's showing up in our 5-year plan, but not until 2028 and 2029. We've reached out to the state and explored opportunities to accelerate this. They have indicated that they do believe that we can complete this faster. In order to do that, however, those federal funds aren't just free to just move. And so what we would be looking at is doing something called advanced construct, where we front the cost and then we'll get paid back later when those federal funds become available. I believe that we have the funding available to find that, and we can find that within our budget. And so I think that is the right thing to do. And I just wanted to present, and so I've directed the team to start working on those agreements. Those agreements will come back to the commission on this, but this is the number 2 priority from the city of Meridian. And I feel like that in terms of being a good partner, it would be good to do this. Now, there's always risk that the federal funds will change and not be available. But even then, this is about $650,000 both for design and construction. We think that will be the right thing to do. It will take working with the Union Pacific, and we never know how well that's going to work in terms of the acceleration of this project, but we do think that it's going to be a good project to get this done and help move this forward at this point. All right,
Madam President,
Commissioner Pickering?
one quick question, Ryan. So when, do you have a timeline of when we'll see those on the dais?
Madam President, Commissioner Pickering, I don't have a timeline yet. Our team has just started that communication with the state to work on getting those agreements, but we expect it should be fairly fast. The general time frame that's been given is probably I'm gonna say summer 2027 or sooner is when we could get this built.
Oh, I'm not
That's
asking
it.
like when we would get it built, but when we would see the
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah,
you know,
we expect that as soon as we work out the details with ITD, we'll bring it.
Thank you.
We're working quickly on that. Commissioners, you all received a letter today from some citizens over in this area. This is Hill Road, which goes and then goes up to the north, Castle and Holly Hill. We've had some communication over the last few months on this topic, and there's an unfortunate and weird situation. I'm just going to call it weird situation that's occurring. There is a what tends to be happening is vehicles coming south on Hill Road are blowing through the stop sign, going across the street and into that neighborhood, running into things. So our team has already been out there looking at this, looking at options of the best way to do this. We've already installed larger stop signs there. Went to the 48-inch or the largest stop sign that we have out there to try and improve that. We've contacted the neighborhood or the neighbors there and asked them to trim back their vegetation. That's our first step. The next few days, if we don't hear anything, we'll go out there and we'll trim it to make sure that sight line's clear there. And then we'll continue to watch this and take a look. It is an interesting situation because not all of these have shown up in a police report, and so we don't have great information about the cause of the crashes or what was happening. But we do believe that this will at least help begin to address that issue. And so just wanted to let you know kind of where we are with that story there.
Commissioner Nelson?
Yeah, Brian, was there a time of day commonality or?
Madam
just sort of
President,
where if we had
Commissioner
that
Nelson, it
focus
has always been at night.
At night?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it does look like there's street lights or, I don't know, might have to go out at night and see if it's a illumination issue or. It's weird.
Yeah, Madam President, Commissioner Gold, I don't want to make comments on what's causing it, but one of the crashes, people blew through that, went clear down and ran into someone's vehicles that were parked in their driveway down on the corner. Like I'm not even sure necessarily from an engineering perspective how you address a situation like that, but clearly there's something going on and we're going to keep watching this. All right, let's talk about trolls. Commissioners, you know, our team over the last really few months and year, I think it's been a year, we've been watching the situation out here. This is out on Basin Road. There was a cattle guard here that is a popular folklore item here, and I'll let the video explain that further.
For Idaho News 6, I'm senior.
Okay, we're gonna watch the video. Let's do that.
Reporter Don Nelson. Most people who have skied up at Bogus Basin for any length of time know the story of the trolls going over the cattle guard. The cattle guards are no longer here, but the trolls remain.
Well, there probably will be a public outrage about this.
What author and history writer Eve Chandler is warning us about is the legend of the Bogus Basin trolls.
The story is that you open the door going up and you let the trolls in, and they will keep you from having a ski accident. And then when you come back down, you open the door and let them back out so that they'll be ready for the next trip back up.
Chandler wrote a book about the history of Bogus Basin Ski Resort and says the story has taken on a life of its own. It's something the crews at ACHD are well aware of.
We do understand there's a little bit of lore and superstition associated with the cattle guard, though, so we're making some improvements to the troll's home to make sure that the troll's still happy, can still make sure that he gets a ride when people are going up the hill.
Since cattle no longer graze here, there's no need for a cattle guard.
It's going to look and feel like a cattle guard. So this is all flat asphalt, and then we've got our rumble strip is kind of what we're building with these planks in between. So these steel plates will come off, then boards will come out.
So this is the new cattle guard, so people can still open up the door, let the troll in when they come back down from skiing. They let it out here.
100%.
Hilarious.
Do I need to say more? I don't know. This week when the story started making social media before we talked to the news about this, I kept asking myself, are we really talking about trolls? However, it is an area of folklore here, and we wanted to continue to support that. So what I'm really appreciative is the team came up with the solution on how to address, make it better, resolve it. Probably about a $30,000 a year ongoing fix that we were dealing with to permanently fix that and use materials there that we had. Those 2x4s were able to repurpose there to use this, and then we're going to be able to take them out and keep the lore alive. So grateful for this and grateful for our team who came up with a way to renovate the home of the trolls. Commissioners, just a few items coming up, quite a few things up here. We did put on here the dates for the outreach, both to Star and Eagle. We're still working on reaching out to other jurisdictions on the CIP. We have completed visits to both Garden City as well as Meridian. But those dates are on here, both on the 7th and the 14th, in case you wanted to tune into those. And some key dates here. We do have the chip seal celebration tomorrow for those who wish to join us, as we like to come together at the end of that and bring everybody who has participated in that effort, which really is a lot of people, and just have a little get together to celebrate the end of that major event we do have each year. As well as we have our employee appreciation breakfast coming up on the 7th. For those who want to show up bright and early, we do start cooking about 6 o'clock. Some of us show up even earlier than that. And you will walk away smelling like grease, and your dog will like you. But you're all welcome to come join, come eat, say hello to the team, and just express our appreciation to them. With that, commissioners, that ends my presentation for today. And hopefully the last time I talk about trolls.
Madam President.
Commissioner Nielsen.
Director Head, on the open streets, is ACHG gonna have a booth there? Do you know?
Madam President, Commissioner Gold, our Commissioner
Nelson.
Yes, you are Madam President and Commissioner Gold. Madam President, Commissioner Nilsson, commuter ride tends to be the lead there, but we do have staff that are involved in connection with that.
Okay.
Commissioner Pickering.
Yeah, thank you. Director, when are we gonna have a work session on I know it still doesn't feel like fall, but fall is technically here. Are we gonna have a work session on snow preparations shortly?
Madam President, Commissioner Gold, absolutely. That's you again.
A long day.
She's just the center of the universe.
Madam President, Commissioner Pickering. Yes, I actually noted last week we're already meeting on this and preparing for that outreach and communications. The crews are already preparing equipment, and we will have a presentation in the very near future.
Fabulous.
Any other questions? All right. Thanks for another great report.
Thank you, Madam President and Commissioner.
All right. With that, we'll be at you until 6 o'clock.
Okie dokie.
All right, good evening, everybody. It's now 6 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Thanks to everybody joining us for the meeting tonight, and please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item is to adopt the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a commissioner or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. All consent agenda items are commission action items unless noted. I don't believe we have any requests to move any consent agenda items. So is there a motion?
Madam President,
Commissioner McKinney.
I will make a motion. Let me say, first of all, item number 4 on the consent agenda is the bid award for the Ustick Road, 10-mile road to Linder Road project. It's good to see that going forward, and I'm happy that that's ready to get started. I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that moves us to the regular agenda. We've got one item. It's the West Joplin Road Vacation and Exchange Public Hearing and Adoption of Resolution number 2448. So this is a public hearing. I'll go ahead and open that and welcome Carrie.
Good evening, Madam President, Commissioners. For the record, Carrie Niesel, Real Estate Management Specialist for ACHD. This is a public hearing and decision briefing presentation on the proposed West Joplin Road Vacation and Exchange. Okay, so ACHD has received an application and a fee of the $2,500 from Millrose Properties Idaho LLC to vacate a segment at West Joplin Road in exchange for new right-of-way. The vacation is a condition of approval for the applicant's new development of the Joplin Rim subdivision. And the recommendation was to realign Joplin Road where it intersects with North Canada Road to increase the intersection safety. So here's a depiction of the overall vicinity of the proposal. It's located in the city of Star. It's directly adjacent to the Ada Canyon County line, and it's just north of Chinden Boulevard. And here you can see the vacation exchange proposal in relation to, this one in relation to the preliminary plat. Excuse me. Okay. So this is the street view at the current intersection of West Joplin and Canada Road. It's looking east at the construction of the right-of-way to be dedicated. It's highlighted there in orange. Okay, so here are the exchange details. ACHD's Joplin Road segment to be vacated is approximately 1.27 acres. And the new right-of-way to be dedicated in lieu of payment is 1.71 acres for an overall increase of 0.44 acres or 18,755 square feet of new public right-of-way. So at this time, the applicant has completed all the statute requirements for vacating the public right-of-way as proposed, but it is up to the commission to determine if it is in the public's best interest to vacate or not. So here's the alternatives that the commission can take at this time. You can accept the proposal, adopt, sign resolution 2448, authorizing the vacation and exchange, or you can deny the request and not accept resolution 2448. And with that, that concludes the presentation, and I'll stand for questions.
Thanks, Carrie. Are there any questions for staff?
Madam President,
Commissioner McKinney?
can we go back to the aerial view, the map that shows the two different parcels? There we go.
Yeah.
So basically the developer is developing these lots, and the current road in blue is area they want to build upon. And the current area the area in, I guess, orange is the intended new right of way. And so we'd replace that curving road with a straight shot. Is the current Joplin Road in that area, is it it's a paved road, correct? It's not a gravel road?
Yeah, Madam President and Commissioner McKinney, it is a paved road, yes.
Okay, but this would be straightening it out
Yes.
in that last, what is it, 1,200 feet or something to the county line. So,
Correct.
okay. It looks like it makes total sense to me to get rid of a curve and put in a straight segment that's shorter and easier, less to maintain, easier to maintain. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Any other questions for Carrie? All right, thanks, Carrie. This is a public hearing. Do we have anybody who wishes to comment on this in person or online? All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, do you have a motion or discussion on this?
Madam President,
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
I'd make a motion that we approve the request for the vacation of the West Joplin Road, resolution number 2448.
I'll second that.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Commissioner Pickering.
I just want to commend staff. This feels like and appears to be a really simple vacation and swap. And I applaud you for working on this with the developer. And this is the ideal scenario. We love to see it. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That moves us to discussion items and public communication. Is there anybody in person or online who wish to address the commission? We are good. Okay, seeing none, meeting is adjourned. Next up is the post-commission agenda. We've got a couple of work sessions. First up is the impact fee capital improvement plan update, draft plan, and impact fee schedule presentation by staff. Welcome, Megan.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Megan Anderson. I'm the impact fee administrator here at ACHD. Here with me tonight is Edinson Batista, senior transportation planner and the co-manager with me on the CIP update project. In your packets tonight, you have the draft capital improvement plan. It was developed by our consultants, Kittleson and Associates. And tonight we're joined again by Sonia Delighten and Matthew Hagan from Kittleson to present the draft materials, which will go out to the public beginning tomorrow through October 16th. I'll turn the time over to Sonia for a presentation on the draft and the materials.
Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Commissioners, President Gold, for having us back here today. Just start the presentation with a reminder and an overview of the process we've gone through so far to get to where we are with a draft CIP document as well as traffic impact fee schedule. As I know you're aware, this was a significantly more substantial process and update to your capital improvement plan. We started this process with a very in-depth best practices review into several key areas that came out of a visioning exercise with your Capital Investment Citizen Advisory Committee, as well as yourselves as the commission. Those 4 areas were the topic of service areas, the topic of potentially expanding the range of projects that could be considered impact fee eligible, investigating whether or not your collector roadway system should be part of the capital improvement plan and impact fee eligible, and then also looking at what is best practice currently for the analysis time period upon which your impact fees and your capital improvement plan projects are based. And so we went through that process with you, as well as with the CICAC in a lot of depth. Once we completed that best practice review, we then moved forward into the capital improvement plan analysis, which resulted in the capital improvement plan project development. We prepared cost estimates for all of the projects that are in your capital improvement plan. And then based on all of that work, we developed the resultant traffic impact fees and your impact fee schedule. And then that is where we are right now with a draft plan and a draft schedule for your review and consideration before we go out for general public comment. As indicated by the arrow at the bottom of this slide, this is a very iterative process, as I also know you're aware of, where once we developed projects and project costs, that fed back into itself to refine the project list, as well as feeding back into that best practice review. One thing I want to highlight again is one of the key differences that's in this current draft compared to your currently adopted CIP. And that is we are currently going out to the public with a draft that includes and separates the county into 2 distinct service areas. And that's shown on the slide here with a west and an east service area. So the public is going to get an opportunity to comment on that and review that. We have our draft CIP roadway projects shown on this slide, and also shown how they fall into the 2 different service areas. We've got a total of 152 individual roadway segment projects in this current draft. It's approximately 7 additional roadway segment projects beyond the currently adopted CIP. Although obviously some projects in the current CIP have been completed since that time, but a net difference of approximately 7 projects. And then this slide shows the draft intersection projects that are in the current CIP or in the draft CIP, and how they again spread out between the 2 different service areas. There's approximately 39 additional intersection projects in this draft plan compared to what's currently adopted, for a total of 122 intersection projects in draft form. One thing that we have not talked about in a lot of detail yet is the cost estimates and the revenue projections that were prepared as part of this project. That is a requirement of the Idaho Development Impact Fee Act that a 20-year revenue projection needs to be developed, so we can make sure that the plan is fiscally constrained, and what is in the plan is reasonably from a financial standpoint for the district to implement over that time frame. You may also remember that when we went through the project refinement process, there were several projects that are still in the CIP, but have been screened out in terms of whether or not they're impact fee eligible, or which components of them are impact fee eligible. Projects that are shown in the CIP in the 2040 to 2045 timeframe, those projects were still included in the CIP, but their construction costs were screened out when we went to make our traffic impact fees, given what we felt was a reasonable number of overall projects for the district to implement over the 20-year timeframe. We also screened a few projects out based on projects that may not be feasibly implementable within that timeframe. An example of those was a 7-lane roadway widening project that was shown as needed on Fairview Avenue, but we recognize that is a very built-out corridor, and obtaining the right-of-way and building 7 lanes may not be a feasibly implementable project within this timeframe. So some projects have been screened out. And what that leaves us with here, when we look at the total project costs within the current draft, is that we have about $1.64 billion of impact fee eligible project costs. We have about $616 million of non-impact fee eligible costs. And these are costs that we had to screen out as being non-impact fee eligible, primarily due to the requirements in the Idaho Development Impact Fee Act, which clearly lays out that certain components of projects can be impact fee eligible, but others cannot. And then we do have about $700 million of unfunded construction costs within our total project costs. So these are those projects where we have kept them in the CIP for right-of-way preservation only, but not included their construction costs in the calculation for developing our traffic impact fees.
Commissioner Nielsen?
Yeah, Sonia, I noticed like in the table A1, we had in a previous draft a column of just the right-of-way cost. And I wonder for corridor preservation only, if we could clarify, because we're just given total project cost, even if it says corridor preservation only. Maybe if, just to really clarify that just be the right-of-way cost for those specific projects.
President Gold, Commissioner Nielsen, we absolutely can provide that additional detail in this table if the commission would like. Absolutely. We can revise this table to include that if that would be helpful.
Or if it is, does the estimated total project cost for those, is that just the right-of-way cost?
No, that estimated total project cost, excuse me, President Gold, Commissioner. Yeah, that total project cost that you see in that table right now is total cost for right-of-way preservation and construction. But we do, in all of the back spreadsheets that are used, we do have the right-of-way costs broken out separately from construction costs, which is how we got to those numbers on the screen here. So if we can present them those if the commission would like that.
Madam President.
Commissioner Pickering?
Honestly, that was confusing to me. That, I mean, it makes sense when you explained it, right? Afterwards, it makes sense that we wouldn't be cataloging the cost of something that's outside of the timeline of this plan. But I think that it kind of can help prevent a misread of the actual numbers when that's qualified a little bit more clearly.
Great. Thank you for that feedback. And so when we move forward into the traffic impact fee schedule, you do have a full draft traffic impact fee schedule as part of your packet. But wanted to share some of the probably most common land uses, how those impact fees translate based on those project costs that we just went through. And also show how that differs by service area that's in the draft plan. So we have a total impact fee eligible cost of $1.64 billion. That separates out to about $1.3 billion in the west service area, compared to about $340 million in the east. And then you'll see some of the draft impact fees here for various land uses. For a single family residential unit, the draft impact fee in the west area would be about $8,900 and in the east area would be about $5,300. And you can see those other ones here up on the screen.
Madam President.
Commissioner McKinney?
Sonia, do these numbers, these projections, do they incorporate the proposed changes to the impact fee rates that we have discussed previously, or are these based on current rates?
President Gold, Commissioner McKinney, I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well, we have, the commission has recently approved or proposed changes to impact fee rates for the county under the current, the way things are currently. Are these projections of different fees for service areas based upon our current impact fees or the proposed increased impact fees?
President Gold, Commissioner McKinney, so these impact fees are based on the new draft project list, new draft cost estimates that have been developed as part of this process. So they do include and account for the current impact fee balance that ACHD has that I know was presented to you recently, and subtract out that current balance that goes into these fees, but they are based on a new project list and a new set of project cost estimates.
But they're not based on the new impact fee rates that we have discussed. And maybe, and that's kind of, I don't know if I'm confused here.
Are you referring to trip generation rates?
No.
Sorry, I'm not understanding. I apologize.
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, this is how we get those new rates. It is this total cost that is what's calculating. Those rates haven't been approved, Commissioner. Those are what you will approve through the CIP and impact fee ordinance when this comes for adoption in December.
Okay.
So currently we're still operating under the old fees. And this is what we're proposing here.
So then if, for example, the multiple service areas, that's also a proposal at this point, but if in the end that doesn't happen, we stay with one service area, then, well, I guess what I'm saying is I'd like to see what would be the projected impact fees under that scenario as well. If we don't go to multiple service areas, but we do, proceed forward with the impact fee increase that we've discussed, where that would take us. That would be helpful to see.
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, absolutely. And Sonia can actually answer that question here in just a second. I did want to circle back to a comment earlier in your question, Commissioner Nilsson. In table A1, when it says the total cost there, and it is for corridor preservation only, it is only the cost of corridor preservation.
That's just the right-of-way cost.
That is just the right-of-way cost. And when you see $24 million for Fairview, that is what it would cost for the right-of-way on Fairview. So that's, those are really, there's some large numbers there too.
Madam President, I would just suggest we add a footnote to those projects or to that number.
We can clarify that.
Yeah, thanks.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
Thank you
Yes,
for that clarification.
Wanted to make absolutely sure that we all knew that other than what we've been discussing for the last year, there hasn't been any discussion about some kind of an interim fee increase. This is it, period. Well, what I understood when Commissioner McKinney began speaking was that he thought there was something besides this that we were going to be considering, other than just the one or the two zone and the fees, apportioned there. And there isn't.
Madam President.
Commissioner Pickering.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page, but I want to just clarify for the public too, like we haven't made a decision, right? We're going through the process of proposing an option, a potential option, right, for the commission to decide, which requires 4 votes. We have not made a decision on those increased fees or the 2 service fee area, but that is what we are proposing to the public for feedback before we make a decision. I
Right.
just want to clarify that.
Yeah, this draft that is being presented to us is what will go out for public feedback tomorrow and then come back to the commission for a decision later. So no decision's been made. Thanks. Sonia, go ahead.
Yep, thank you, commissioners. And I am happy to answer the question about what the impact fee would look like under a single service area model, if that is helpful. It's not an average of the two. You put all of the project costs into one bucket and divide that by the full projected vehicle miles travel within the county. And so that would work out to $7,843 for a single family residential unit, compared to those 2 numbers you see on the screen as one example. And if there are any other land uses you'd like to know, I can look those up as well for you. Right. As has been mentioned, we're at the point in this project where we're very actively doing a lot of outreach and engagement to get feedback, not only from ACHD's standing committees or the commission on this, but also many other partners and engaged parties who are interested in your impact fee program and capital improvement plan. Back in mid-July, the commission provided direction to move forward with creating a draft plan that showed 2 service areas. And since that time, both ACHD staff as well as the project team have been completing a series of outreach and engagement to get input, answer questions on what that looks like. The first thing that has been done is a series of one-on-one meetings between ACHD staff and staff at your partner agencies, cities within Ada County, as well as Ada County itself. So those have been ongoing. We presented to the ACHD Commercial Developer Advisory Committee at the beginning of August. Obviously, that's a committee made up of the group of people who pay these fees to ACHD, and so they were very interested in hearing what is going on. We also presented to an external group, but the Building Contractor Association of Southwest Idaho, their Builder Developer Council meeting. We presented to them at the beginning of this month to share the direction that this is going, or the way the draft is being created right now. Justin Lucas has been starting a series of presentations to your partner elected officials at cities around Ada County, as well as the Ada County commissioners. So several have occurred already, and more will be ongoing. We presented this draft, shared this draft plan, and presented it and had a discussion with your Capital Investment Citizen Advisory Committee just earlier this week. And then we are sharing this with the commission today. From here, as I mentioned, there'll be continued presentations ongoing with city councils throughout Ada County. Pending your feedback and confirmation today, the draft plan will be out for public engagement on the ACHD Engage website starting tomorrow and running for 3 weeks until mid-October. Once that public engagement period is over, we will have additional meetings with the CICAC as well as yourself to summarize the public comment, as well as comments we receive through these other engagements, and decide what of that may need to go into and be reflected in a revised draft of the plan. We will have another public hearing notice as well as a public comment period from mid-November through early December, leading into a public adoption hearing for the new CIP and traffic impact fees that we're currently targeting December 3rd for that. So there'll be another 2-week public engagement period leading up to that meeting in December. So that is all we have to present to you today, but we're happy to answer any additional questions or clarifications that may be helpful.
Thanks, Sonia. Are there any questions?
Madam
Commissioner
President?
Pickering?
Yes, thank you, Sonia, and I appreciated you being so ready for the other rate for the single family. Do you have the multifamily rate under a single service fee area handy?
I do not have that, and off the top of my head. And the reason for that is multifamily residential has there are multiple land use codes in ITE for that. And so in working with ACHD staff, we've actually kept that off the published impact fee schedule right now at the request of staff, so that when multifamily development comes in, they are able to work directly with the developer to make sure they're applying the right code for that particular development, both in its size, how many stories it has, and also the multi-family housing in ITE has different trip generation depending on your land use context, if you're in a downtown versus suburban environment. So I don't have those numbers off the top of my head unless Matthew wants to pull them up super quick to provide them.
Or an average, I think, of the multiple codes, if that's appropriate, because I think.
Yeah, so she's asking for the multifamily, which is not published right now. We can absolutely provide that information. I will tell you, multifamily housing has lower trip generation than detached single family housing. So it would be For a single service area land use, that traffic impact fee would be something less than the 7,843 that I quoted you, but I don't have the number right. off
Yeah,
the
even
top.
if it's a range.
Okay.
I think,
Yep.
yeah, because I think that gives some flexibility, right? It doesn't pin you down. It has to be this number, right? Depending on the code. So, I think a range would be really perfect, but I think that's going to be really helpful in making sure that folks understand the impact of, either choice.
Thank you for that
Thank you.
feedback.
Commissioner Nelson?
So I want to talk about Fairview because, and the screening process, so which sounds very reasonable. We do have a Fairview Colda Curtis quarter preservation only, so that's still in there. Is that, or excuse me, maybe the value of kind of logical sequencing, even though it's way out there. So that one's still in, but other Fairview projects to the west, excuse me, were screened out.
Yeah, President Gold, Commissioner Nielsen, great question. So that project that you're referring to in there is the project I was referring to that was screened out in terms of its construction cost.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay, so it's
Fairview
now
Colda Curtis, as you're aware, is a very developed area. It is constrained right of way. The analysis for the CIP showed the need for widening that to 7 lanes. And so we've kept it in here as a project, but as a project for right-of-way preservation only. So if redevelopment were to occur, the district has the ability to preserve right-of-way for 7 lanes, if that's a desired project in the future. But its construction cost was so high, we screen that out as to not include the actual construction cost for that project in the impact fee calculation. So it's in there for right-of-way preservation only right now.
I do have maybe a question for the director then. So when we have these constrained corridors, and we have several corridor preservation only, would it be of value to the district, if we haven't already, is kind of look at those corridors of what do we have? You know, what have we got through development? Any dedications? I mean, do we have a good sense of when we've done the right-of-way estimate? Is it just kind of a flat formula, or have we actually looked at the right-of-way and figured out almost property by property, what do we have actually in the bank already?
Madam President, Commissioner Nilsson, I think I may defer part of this question back to Sonia, because she did the calculations there, but we're generally taking into account what we do own in those areas.
Okay.
But it's additional right away per square foot.
Sorry, I thought it was
No, thank you.
detailed for what you.
President Gold, Commissioner Nelson, he's exactly right. These cost estimates, while they make some general assumptions about cost of commercially zoned land in Boise, cost of residentially zoned land, when we're developing the cost estimates, we did look property by property along each corridor to determine how much additional right-of-way would be needed to implement whatever the identified project is to ACHD current right-of-way standards.
Thank you.
Yes.
You know, trying to squeeze the cost down.
Yes,
But
we
you've done it. Okay.
did as much as we can with
Okay.
that. Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, Sonia. Really
Thank you.
appreciate all of your work on this and all of the effort to do this outreach with all of these different groups, and look forward to the comments over the open comment period and the next update. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Our pleasure.
Okay, that moves us to our second work session, which is the VRF update discussion, and we will have Shandy.
All right. Madam President, Commissioners, for the record, Shandy Lamb, Chief of Communications, and I am happy to be here today to talk to you guys a little bit about the vehicle registration fee program and its sunsetting. So it was very interesting I got to dive into the historical archives of this program, and it was interesting to read a lot about all of the progress that was made along the way, and to find out that the work really began back in the 1980s for this program. So the program is possible through state statute 40-1416, which authorized voters of Ada County or of any county with a countywide highway district to approve a vehicle registration fee, which of course is Ada County. So after 2 unsuccessful attempts, the voters of Ada County approved a local vehicle registration fee for ACHD on November 6, 1990. The ballot initiative and the vehicle registration fees provided additional money to the district for road and bridge systems. The initiative had a 20-year sunset and was set to expire in 2009. So in 2008, the district ran a new initiative, increasing the fees to include additional funding focused on safe routes to school and traffic congestion. Each category doubled with the exception of the first one that you'll see increased by a little bit more than double. The commission attempted again, so again, this had a 20-year sunset. The commission at the time attempted again in 2018 for another increase, but the vote failed 53% to 46%. With that initiative failing, we are currently operating under the program established by the ballot initiative in 2009. That fee sunsets at the end of 2028 and beginning of 2029, which is why we are here talking about it today. So the vehicle registration fees have had a major impact in Ada County, supplementing general roadway projects, needed bridge replacements, safe routes to school, and congestion relief. Just since 2008, you can see by this map here that residents throughout each district have seen improvements aided by this funding on a large scale. In 2024 alone, we collected $13 million from this program, and that increases yearly with annual growth. With the program sunsetting at the end of 2028, beginning of 2029, I'm here today to begin conversations about next steps. So there are 2 voting cycles between now and then. So you would have the opportunity, should you wish, to put it back on a ballot. The first opportunity would be 2026, and the last opportunity would be 2028. In most cases, the filing deadline for these would be the August prior to those November elections. And should you decide that you would like to go back out for renewal, the commission will need to determine a few things like ballot language, funding use, and proposed fees. Once those items are set, then the commission would be able to, at that time, move forward with a campaign. And at that point, ACHD staff would no longer be involved. To help inform your decision, I'm here today to propose a survey. And if you agree that this would be beneficial, we have selected Rathbone-Falvey Research to conduct that survey for a variety of reasons. So Rathbone-Falvey is a reputable local company. Their research studies are scientifically sound, and they have experience with local governments in the area. The services that they provide, you can see here, they provide voter sentiment analysis, messaging, strategy development, demographic targeting intelligence, and risk assessment and management and mitigation, which I think would all be important to inform your decisions should you want to put this back onto a ballot. The survey would be delivered digitally and would gain responses from 600 Ada County residents who are registered and likely to vote in the next election. This survey would have a 95% confidence level with a 4% margin of error, and the cost to complete would be $16 per completed survey, in addition to money spent for project labor from project planning, field management, data processing, and reporting. So all of that, all in, estimated total cost would be $19,500. And while I was not here over the last votes, my information gathering has told me that surveys in the past have been important to inform the commission when making these decisions for similar efforts. So with head nods today, I would begin working with Rathbone-Falvey, relying heavily on their expertise to formulate a survey that would be valuable to all of you as you make this important decision for this critical funding source.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
Yes, have you read the survey that was done in 2018?
Madam President, Commissioner Goldthorpe, yes, I did. That was still under a lot of discussion when I first started here.
Then you know that there was some demographic criteria for who received and was counted as a recipient, or their opinions were counted. We didn't get a bunch of 21-year-olds.
Yeah.
We didn't get all old farts like me. Is that going to be a criteria this time?
Yeah, Madam President and Commissioner Goldthorpe, that is absolutely a criteria. So they collect a number of demographics, and you can see on that first, in the sample size, there's a demographic quota. So you would be receiving information on a lot of different demographics, including gender. You could collect age. I would also recommend that you would likely collect party affiliation, zip code, all sorts of different demographic quotas so that you are very well informed with.
We'll follow up. When we approved the demographic aspect of the 2018 one, that was probably, and I've done a lot of surveys and a lot of focus groups and others professionally, that was probably the most complete and unbiased group that I think I've ever seen in my life. So that you could not possibly get anyone thinking that the questions were the least bit leading. I think that is incredibly important for this. We found out some very astounding, the results of that survey were amazing. Not at all what we expected, but very good.
And to that, Madam President and Commissioner Goldthorpe, I will say the biggest difference between the 2018 survey and this one would be that this one is very hyper-focused just on VRF. That one did have more broad questions related to things outside of VRF. This one would be very hyper-focused to really just inform this decision. And we would really be relying on their expertise to develop those questions to make sure that you had all of the information that you needed. So in my conversations with Rathbone Falvey, it's not a specific number of questions that they look to target when they are developing those questions. It's a sweet spot on time and how long it takes for people to complete the survey. And so different questions take different amounts of time, and there's a whole process to go into to develop all of those. And so we would really rely on their expertise. This is what they do day in and day out. So that would be our plan.
Commissioner.
Follow up, please.
Okay.
One of the things that resulted from that 2018 survey was that other information that we received that was not directly towards the vehicle registration fee helped us know how to market the ballot initiative. It helped a lot. And so please ask them to consider that.
Madam President and Commissioner Goldthorpe, absolutely. I think that is part of that demographic targeting intelligence that they work through.
Commissioner Nelson.
Yeah, just a couple of thoughts. I think household income would be interesting. A lot of people are struggling. And then can you go back a slide, Shandy? You're back to the back one more. Yeah, there you go. In terms of where the money goes, can we show people what types of projects we were able to do with those funds? Either in the different categories, if it's a road, if it's a neighborhood project or safe routes, because I'd like to know if people, where their preferences where the money be spent too. So and that might relate to Commissioner Goldthorpe and the marketing of it.
That's exactly what we
Right.
got.
Yeah. So I just don't know if we're able to give examples of those.
Yeah, Madam President and Commissioner Nelson, on your first point, household income is part of the demographic list. And as far as the projects, that can definitely be a part of that conversation with Rathbone Falvey to make sure that they are developing. I don't know that scenario is the right word, but understanding what is important to Ada County voters, I think, is a huge portion of informing your decisions.
If I can just follow, I want to avoid people just saying no more taxes without giving,
Sure.
well, we have these types of projects to,
Yep.
to try to tease that out a little bit more. So,
Absolutely.
thanks.
Madam President, thank you. Yeah, Shandy, just one quick question. This firm, the sampling or polling firm, Rathbone Falvey, has ACHD used them in the past for any other surveys that we've done?
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, not that I am aware of. I did some research in the area and I found several companies, a couple of which when I called, their surveys are not scientifically sound. I think that's extremely important for this research. So they were the one that kept coming up with scientifically sound. I found one other one when I dug in further, it was powered by Rathbone Falvey under a different name. So that kind of indicated that they were the go-to. And then in my conversations with them, the city of Boise has used them. The Idaho Fish and Game has used them. That was something I think is important. In anything that we do, I always look to find out if other government agencies have used them successfully. We did that with our website. We do that with everything because we just operate differently than other businesses. And so that was really important to hear that they've developed good relationships with other government agencies.
Okay, good. And if I may, one more follow-up question then, and the cost that we're looking at here, the estimated cost to do this, is that going to fall under current existing budget things, or would this be some additional budget item?
Great question. Madam President and Commissioner McKinney, this would come in the first budget adjustment for next year.
So it would be something beyond what's previously presumed?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Nielsen.
Yeah, Shandy, so what's if you get all the head nods, what would be a start and end date of the project?
Yes.
When would we have some results to chew?
Yeah, so assuming that no big objections to it today and you'd like us to move forward with it, we would start working with them right away. So there is a sweet spot with surveys and a dead spot. And approaching the holidays is a dead spot. So she gave me kind of a month that she would not recommend moving forward with it at all. So we would either move extremely quickly and get it out very fast before the holidays, or depending on that back and forth in that process, she recommended then after the new year and getting it done immediately into the beginning of 2026.
Yeah, I kind of concerned we have the 5-year plan and CIP adoption, before the holidays, and maybe we need to think of doing it after that. I don't want people thinking that's why we're surveying them, but I don't know. Just wanted to put that out there.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
This one's probably for Steve. We had some discussion about the possibility of the legislature extending our vehicle registration fee program.
Madam President, Commissioner Goldthorpe, that's ongoing conversation.
Okay.
Madam President, one other item in response to your question, Commissioner McKinney, about the budget. We'll look at this. We may be able to fit it within some of our existing budgets as well. So we'll update you on that, but it's possible that we have some funds available to do this within our existing programs.
Just speaking for me, I would say go right away, not wait till the new year, but do it right away. Because we are busy with a lot of stuff, but that doesn't mean the whole public is, well, okay, fall is always very busy for everyone, but even still, I think it would be wise to push forward and not wait.
I would agree.
Yep,
Commissioner
same.
Pickering.
Thank you. Yeah, I would echo Commissioner McKinney's points, and then January is always busy. So would love that to get it wrapped up, and especially inform the session too, if we know where folks are at and if there is support, that can be helpful as we talk to legislators about the importance of this.
Yep.
Great.
Is that all?
That's all I need. I will move forward.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
Have the head nod and appreciate the information and look forward to seeing the results. All right, that wraps us up for today, and we'll see everybody next week.